Now, do you normally just touch your database? Like, what works for you? Marketing outside of your database, on the internet, or just doing a direct contact with your seller?
I'm thinking possibly some of you out there don't have big databases yet, perhaps, or you're just beginning, and that's such a wonderful place to be. When Joseph and I began, we went to the doors, 24 doors around our home, and put cards in the doors. And to today, we have neighbors come up and say to us, you know, I'm thinking about doing something with the house. From those 24 cards that we would have been scared to death if somebody opened a door. I don't know what we would have done, but I'm serious, we have no idea. As Joseph tells, you know, when we speak, he tells, you know, about my first listing presentation. And it was to our first listing, and her name was Tony Rocha, and she lived 2 blocks from us, from these cards we put in the door. And I told her, Tony, you don't want us, we have no idea what we're doing. And that was my first listing presentation. So I had nowhere to go but up, you know. So, but anyway, so, you know, it's wonderful the things you can do on a small basis. You know, we started our little business in October, and in November, and some of you may know this, but we took cranberry cans that we bought at Costco, I guess it was Price Club back then, and put a ribbon around them with our card, and Joseph had looked up the legend of the cranberry. Well, that worked marvelous for us, wonderful, and we did 24 of those because that's all we really could do, you know. And so, you know, if you have a farm you're even thinking of, you might, you know, take 100 people out of that farm and try a postcard because you have that luxury of, you know, seeing how that works. So I'm a tremendous believer in, you know, just seeing where I can get on very little. And it honestly, farming is such a wonderful, wonderful thing. I think in an earlier, I was listening, was that you, Joseph, or Russell, who said, you know, we farm all the time. We farm our farm, we farm our database, we farm our ads, we farm our calls. I mean, constantly, we are after. And Brett, who said about follow-up, if my team heard me say that one more time, they'd probably get sick. Because honestly, if you don't prepare for it, if you don't communicate with them, and if you don't follow up, then all of your hopes and dreams are wasted, you know. And you must be consistent. As hard as it is, you must be consistent in your farm. You've just got to be, you know, when you don't want to, when you don't want to spend the money, when you don't know what you're going to put on that farm, just put it aside and send them something. I don't care what they do with that card that comes to their home. If they just see the name as they drop it in the waste paper basket so that they know that's our name, and so when that day comes they want to buy or sell, and we call them or something like that, you know, that's what it's about. It really is.
I think you have to get out there and talk to people, and you have to, the easiest way, get up tomorrow morning, if you don't have a listing, get somebody who does, and hold an open house, and hope that the neighbors come. In fact, if you're smart, you'll give them out invitations. You'll drop invitations at the door for 30, 40 houses around the open house, because those neighbors are the next listing. That's why they came to the open house. They're curious. They want to know their neighbor's business, of course. But they're thinking of maybe selling. That's why they're taking the time. And so, because I've heard people say, "Oh, I held an open house and all of us was neighbors." Oh my gosh, you know, that's a golden opportunity, you know. And just an open house, it introduce you to buyers who probably have a house to sell if they're going to buy. They buy first. You know, we all know that that's not the way you do it, but they don't know that. Or the neighbor's going to come by. But it's talking to people. You have to get out there. You have to talk to people. There's no postcard that's going to replace that. Because sooner or later, you have to talk to them if they call you, and you need to have practice. That was one of the things Russell was saying earlier. You have to practice because you're going to be lousy at first. And but the more you practice, the more you talk to people, the better you get.